Went through and I added a few more dimensions. Also, we need to look at reordering renaming. So I brought sheet 7 up to the front and renamed it to sheet 2. And the blank sheet I just kind of left out here as an example. If you left click, hold down and drag, you'll see that little arrow popping up where you're going to put in the insertion point. Since I don't want to mess with my other items, I will just go ahead into the rename. Used to be you could single click and double click, but I think that was open for too much of an error. And accidentally changing names. Not sure what's popping up there. Anyway, I can rename it to something, and if I get enough, pretty much a subassembly could fit into this drawing package. And subassemblies start getting a little too complicated, somewhere between like 15 and 20 parts. So if I had 15 to 20 sheets through here, I would want to do something like rename these from sheet. Probably would not want to put the names in there because those are going to get way too long and harder to control. You're going to be able to kind of scroll through those, but it's just not fun. Alright, so if I were to rename that to sheet 9, that changes the name and has the same effect as coming up, right-clicking in the sheet and hitting its properties, and then in the very upper left, renaming to whatever. Notice that you can also do the scale here, 1/2, 1:1, which is pretty much what I was doing. Same thing down here on the status bar. First angle projection really comes, and third angle projection is, I always think of third angle projection, are you holding the part in your hand and rotating the part, or are you looking at the part sitting on a desk or a platform and you're rotating yourself around for first angle? So if we needed to change the sheet format, we have the opportunity to reload, or if we made modifications, we would need to reload so that the updated title block comes into to play. So if we apply the changes, that goes to sheet 9, and we have those as our new settings. All right, and then if I delete it, then it goes away. All right, so a few things along the way. I went in and we had done the flat pattern. Put most of the dimensions on the flat pattern because that's pretty much the focus of the manufacturing. Alright, so one of the things with the view is the finished product I would like to have at these dimensions with a generous enough tolerance that they're not going to be too difficult. Now the real problem here is this is going to need a really heavy press brake to make that material, and I did not call out the material, so somewhere in here looks like a good spot. We have 1/2 inch material. Alright, so the down bends, as my press brake operator always told me, my press brake only bends up, it doesn't bend down. Apparently he could not turn the part over. But it does, you want to make these as least confusing as possible. It came in with the down views and also with the chamfer shown. Chamfer didn't want to come in, so I ended up making the modification. And let's see if I just add a something here. And this is where that comes in. Pretty much going to give you that warning everything you type. So at some point you'll want to just click do not show again. I'm taking responsibility for messing up the dimension, and try not to break the associativity while you're making those adjustments. So still not sure where those came up from. It must be a screen anomaly for me. This is the one that we just did. And sheet 4 came in. We didn't really need that vertical view. The one thing here is I like the size, but the length is a little bit of an issue. And even though it's not a great place to do the brake view, it is at least a little bit. So what do you want to see for the brake? And then we drag out the second brake, and it will show it as a shortened item, and then all of your views, the jagged cut, the straight cut, the wavy curved cut, the zigzag, and small zigzag. So you can kind of pick your favorite one, and you can keep adding those brakes as much as you need. So the advantage of the brake is I'm going to be able to go through and apply my dimensions. It's going to read the full length. It's just going to ignore that gap in the view. So it doesn't affect the part. It just gives us something that's a little bit more useful. And it rotated me around there, so let's try that again. Sometimes those little blue, yellow switch the dimension dots can be a little bit challenging. Alright, so if we wanted to go on center line, let's select the view, and this time we'll do a center line. Alright, so it didn't quite pick that up. Let's go to view. Alright, so that looks a little bit better. Holes show up on center line. We can grab those, and we're going to change all of those from dims over to center. Alright, one more that I missed. And center. Alright, so this was a hollow tube, and this was also a purchased part. So hopefully somewhere I made a note of the part number, and we would want to put a note, purchased material tube, and we need a diameter in there somewhere, so I need to see if I can grab a symbol. 0.50, and I think it was a point, it would have been a 0.12 wall, something like that. So alright, so if we had the part number, when I get the part number, that will remind me to go back and input the full description in so that we have that material. I certainly don't want somebody quoting this or drilling a hole through 8 5/8 of material for this piece. Alright, so it's not really a hole call out. Let's see if it'll give me the through. Alright, so I think I'd rather write in the through. Alright, so if that comes up, then we can go to this side. And there it goes, let it catch up. Alright, and that was based on the wall thickness or the tolerance of the purchased part. Alright, so we've got our dimensions. We'll need the hole call out here. Alright, and there's again the jog length. It didn't really pick up the 2, so that just means that when I applied those, I did that as a cut extrude, and I missed the little pop-up, so 2 times. And I'll go ahead and put the through on the end. Alright, so not all of these are going to be associative, but we want enough that the major, really critical dimensions are going to get caught, that I'm not going to have to go through and change every single one every single time. Alright, because that's just gonna get way too tedious. Alright, so let's go up to the dimension pull down. I want a chamfer dimension, and I believe it's pick the angle and pick one of the faces, 0.06 by 45. And then 2 times, and if there was more than, say, 2 or 3, that would be where we'd use the typical. Alright, so that gives me pretty good. Make sure to save. Let's take a look at sheet 5. Alright, so this one has the tapped hole on this end, so we're going to pick the back view and just flip this around. Alright, this would have the same effect as picking the rotate and rotating it 180 degrees. There's no real geometry flipping it front to back or rotating it 180 degrees. Had to think about that for a minute. And then I think I might be able to get all of the center lines. Picked up some stuff in the view. So if I come down to the filters and I grab my center lines, or center marks and center, then those will pick. We'll flip those over to center, And then I'll make sure. Now this is where F5 and F6 have always given me a little bit of a problem. F5 turns the toolbar on and off. F6 turns toggles the filter on and off. All right, so we don't want the filter, and it didn't put in a center mark for my slot. So I'm going to pick that view, center mark, and then we're also going to pick for the slot. We want it to be center to center, and that looks pretty good. We'll just do the select control select for the marks. Call that one good. Alright, so dimension. Again, I think that you should probably have a pretty good handle on the dimensioning at this point, so I don't really want to go through those. Don't really need the top view either. I'm going to be able to get all of the information off of these two views, so we'll simplify that up by deleting the view. So if I run into any real issues, when we do the tolerancing, this is going to be our critical where the bearing presses in. So that's really the only major concern that I have is this going to be a light slip, a press? The set screw is holding it in place to some extent, so we'll come back and revisit that one. Alright, so on sheet 6 here, with the views, let's do the rotate. And so if I pick a new view, so the top view, it's going to warn me view orientation has changed, and I applied a dimension just so that you would see that it's going to kick it out. It brought over my center views, and this is okay. So I'm going to get rid of that kind of vertical thing. And one more time we'll look at maybe half scale. So that looks a little bit better. I don't have any real interior geometry. I mean, I've got the through hole, but there's not anything that I really feel like I need a section view to show detail on on this piece. Let's go ahead and turn the filter back on for the center, since there are a few of those there. And we'll scroll down to, if I can find it. I'm not seeing my layers. So it picked up, oh, maybe I didn't toggle it on. Alright, that I saw the view. I didn't pick up the center mark property manager. So there we go. That looks a little bit better. And we'll grab that one, and then F6 will toggle it off. So since that one's active, I'd be curious. Oh, I guess I selected it. F6 toggles it on as a selection. I can apply it this time, and then F6 will turn it back off, leaving center marks as the kind of the filter of choice. Alright, and then I don't know if I need a center line. Let's go ahead and put a center line in. Now in the options, when they apply center lines, it gives the option for applying a layer to the center marks, but then somehow I've never quite gotten it to do it. Oh, don't need that as a filter. I just need to change the layer to center. Okay, so F6. And it looks like there's another one, so yeah, there's actually more center lines there than I really want. Let's go ahead and, since I was, so pretty much every cylindrical piece got a center line here. Alright, so what I really need is just that middle one. I can drag it out, and then I won't have to be dealing with all of those. Okay. Alright, so dimensions here. Let's go for the whole call out. And I think the standard dimensions you'll be able to pick. And I'm not sure which ones are going to be critical. From the hub side, oh, I went into the whole call out, so let's grab that. Okay. That gives me my 632 through all. And we'll see if that one 5 times the 1/2 inch, that looks fine. Right click, go back to select. Alright, we'll add a few dimensions just to get you started. And I believe all of the chamfers are typical. So when we come over to more dimensions and to our chamfer, always make sure to grab the angle first, and then either of the linear will allow you to pick those up. And typical. So wherever you see a chamfer, that's going to be in our geometry. Alright, so the linear dimensions I think you probably have a good handle on. The smart dimension for the angles though, let's come off of that one and go to that one. So that gave me 72 degrees since it is 5 times. There's not anything really clocking to the to these 632 holes. So I can make a note maybe in this group. I don't know how I want to say that, but not clocked. Yeah, not clocked to any, I wouldn't say to any other geometry, but I don't really want to write a novel either, so. And then just for readability, I kind of want to just left justify that. Alright. So there's probably a better way to say that. That would be something for the machine shop. If I didn't put that in there, there's a possibility they'd say, oh, well, that has to be on the same axis as one of these holes, and it doesn't. Pretty much anywhere that it will lock onto the shaft or whatever's going in there is going to be fine. And probably the last one, we'll just bring up and revisit the 5 times since we have the hole spacing, and go ahead and put in the rest of the dimensions, and we'll be on to the optional optimization.